Pokémon, a franchise full of bright colors, cute creatures, and building bonds with elemental gods. Even befriending the Pokemon world equivalent of Jesus. This game is sunshine and rainbows. I refuse to believe otherwise. Sure, there was a few flashing lights in an episode, that may have caused, a few Japanese children to convulse, possibly have some seizures. And by a few, I only mean around, 600 kids. They can always make more, right? Calm down, it's okay. And they're all fine, alright? Never did get to see that episode. Poor Porygon, he would have been a star, I tell ya. Or what about the internet legend told out throughout the years of Pokemon Lavender Town? More specifically, its original music. Have enough high frequencies and tones. Make children lose their mind. Really not a safe place to be a kid, the Pokemon world, now that I think of it. I mean, yes, you can wield the power of God, and palm your hands. The second you look at, a few flashing lights or listen to this song right here, it might just spell the end for you. Even if it does spell the end for us, I can't read. Let's embrace the spooky and creepy corners, proving that no matter how bright and vivid your world claims to be, and even if everything the light touches is your kingdom, the light will always cast the darkest shadows. Thanks to Kingdom Hearts for teaching me that one. But don't worry, because today I plan on capturing a little bit of hope and light in every scary, haunted, or downright spooky area in the entirety of the Pokemon franchise, and capture a shiny in every generation that contains one. Grab a few AA batteries and let's dive into the dark and creepy corners of the Pokemon Kingdom throughout the multiple generations of spook. It would only make sense to start our JoJo's Spooky Shiny Adventure, where it all started. The home of the myth itself, Lavender Town. Although we can't obtain, shiny Pokemon in the very first Pokemon games here, as they weren't, invented yet. And we can't exactly, go back in time and add those features to these games, because they didn't exist. That's where you're wrong, as the first Pokemon games were remade not once, not twice, but 3 times. Once they added the color and anime references from the show. Oh, not too many references, of course. We won't want that happen again. Second time was to add shiny Pokemon. And not twice, but 4 times the graphical power, baby! Oh, the third time? We don't speak of the third time. They just, they may have just added a few phone game mechanics and so better graphics, but we won't worry about that one right now. In other generations, Lavender Town, didn't get represented too well. Like in Generation 2, for example, where they decided to change the iconic Pokemon Tower, a monument and burial ground for many trainers' Pokemon, into a radio tower. Never mind video killing the radio star. Radio done killed the dead. Again, just imagine, you finally die, you finally find some peace in this world, having your deep slumber disturbed from Carly Rae Jepsen, Call Me Maybe. Welcome to 96.6 Chill Beats Radio. Tunes so good, we'll have your Harlem shaking in your grave, hitting a nay-nay back to life. Hope you want to hear See You Again for the 5th billionth time. What's that, you got a problem with it? Oh, why you do something? Oh, you're buried in the ground. Well, since we can indeed visit the famous location where creepy Pokemon all started, home of the ghost, and also many other dead Pokemon, let's hunt for our very first shiny Pokemon. You know what? You may as well update your smoke detectors while we're at it, because at first glance here, they don't look to be doing too good. The shiny Pokemon that we can encounter here consists of Ghastly, Haunter, and even the rare chance of a Cubone. I know what you may be thinking, not too spooky looking right there, is it? But you see that? Yep, that's right. That's his mother's skull right there on his head. What about now, huh? Is Ghastly Guy your nightlight tough guy? Here in Pokemon Fire Red, or Leaf Green, if you're strange like that, but come on, just don't be that guy. Encountering a shiny is a whopping 1 in 8,192 chance. Yep, we're going to be here for quite a while. Luckily, we can contrast this extremely low odd hunt with yet another one, with the odds also not too much in our favor. In Generation 3, Pokemon Emerald atop Mount Pyre. Yet another Pokemon cemetery, except this was actually outside and on top of a mountain. So at least the creepy fog makes a little bit more sense here. But we have the exact same odds, and we're in a very similar situation here, where we can encounter such creepy Pokemon as Vulpix, Medite, and Stephen Wingull. And of course, some ghostlies in the likes of Shuppet, Duskull, and even Chime Echo. Rare 2% chance on the top of our 1 in 8,192. For some reason, despite even having the exact same odds, and even being played on the exact same console, I encountered this shiny possessed voodoo doll thing much earlier than I could have ever expected. I'm not even going to try to ballpark guesstimate some sort of encounter count for you guys here, but if I had to guess, it was more than 5. Shiny Shuppet here is actually pretty cool, especially since it's only my 3rd ever shiny Gen 3 Pokemon, with my other 2 being Zigzagoons. We have a few other locations to cover, so let's check up on Fire Red. Yeah! Maybe in the meantime, we should, hop into the next one. The Haunted Chateau. Basically Luigi's Mansion, but with a lot less ghosts. In fact, there's only 2. Or 1, based on how far you are in the game. Because if you're playing this on the original DS, have already beaten the Elite Four, and become the champion, you'll have yourself the opportunity to capture a Rotom inside the television. Well, since I had to beat the entire game in Generation 4, I may as well use my Brilliant Diamond copy on Nintendo Switch, where I already beat it with only shiny Pokemon, right? Well, not here. You see, if you want a Rotom in these copies, you're gonna have to complete the entire Pokedex. Beating the game was just way too easy. Never mind that. How about you go see every fucking Pokemon instead? Then, maybe I'll change my mind and let you see the ghost in the TV. Yeah, you know what? I must have just missed the part where it was the platinum trophy of this game. Well, in Brilliant Diamond, we'll just hunt the regular old Ghastly while we wait to beat platinum, I guess. We finally got a shiny in that one game that the spooky music, the one where the video started playing? Yeah, that thing. It sparkled. Thing very spooked, too. After a whopping, 2,000 to 3,000 encounters, or more accurately, 7.5 hours, we got ourselves a shiny Ghastly. Maybe it wasn't the music that drove those kids crazy. Maybe they were just shiny hunters. That would make it even worse, as, there weren't any shiny Pokemon to speak of back then, so they might have been hunting for a long time. But in the meantime, we beat Pokemon Platinum, and we finally reset for a shiny TV static Pokemon. And yeah, this was going to take a while. But between resetting and sweet scenting and Brilliant Diamond, we finally encounter another shiny Ghastly. Yay, my favorite shiny, the blue ball of gas. This one at least seemed a lot more quicker, but it still took between 2 and 3 hours. But for a full odds hunt, you'd be surprised. It's actually pretty impressive. Even if it isn't a newer generation games and our odds were 1 in 4,091. While we wait for our reset for our shiny static ghosts, how about we go somewhere more spooky that no one even dares to speak of? Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about Generation 7. So spooky that gym leaders don't even dare to step foot into such a place. I don't even blame them. These games got a lot of unskippable text, and I can't read. Welcome to Pokemon Sun, a game people have asked me to shiny hunt in ever since I started shiny videos. And honestly, I like Sun and Moon. But ever since they released the same game, basically unchanged, it really left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't think of these games too fondly afterwards. But one area I do remember fondly, and one of my favorite areas in all of Pokemon, is the abandoned grocery store, or the Thrifty Mega Mart, as the game calls it, where it's overrun with ghosts. In this area, you encounter a Pokemon so terrifying in the Pokedex entry, it says, the very sight of it would kill you. So what does it do instead? It wears the skin of a $1 billion franchise mascot. And I think it just killed itself. Sun and Moon is a pretty fun game to shiny hunt in, though, I'll give it that. The SOS battle mechanic, where you have a Pokemon injured enough and boosts its adrenaline, will call in for help in the form of, well, another Pokemon. But as you continue to knock out Pokemon in the chain, recruiting more backup and saving Private Ryan, your odds of a shiny appearing also increase up to a maximum of 1 in 300 after you've knocked out 30 called-in Pokemon. This took over a few days after I had a few attempts paralyzing or calling Mimikyu, not knowing that would stop your chain, and also losing another one after running out of moves. But after that, we finally got ourselves a shiny Mimikyu. And yeah, not only did I miss the initial sparkle since I wasn't recording, but also, it's a very subtle change. But it's much more ghostly if you ask me. It's wearing like a sheet. But at least it's now more ghastly. It's not a blue ball of gas. This shiny Rotom is by far the longest hunt in the video, just so you know. How about we take part in multiple shiny hunts in the easiest mainline Pokemon game to obtain some spooky shinies in the meantime? Of course, I'm talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus. We're in plain sight. We don't have any particular spooky areas other than this haunted shipwreck where I sort of encountered a shiny here. But honestly, it's a long story. We'll come right back to that in a second. But one thing that is spooky is the great outdoors. Or more specifically, Winter Wasteland. We're not exactly walking in a winter wonderland here with fox demons running amok, even abominable snow monsters, ghosts, furries, and hordes of living icebergs. This is the closest thing to Pokemon Canada, and that alone is spooky enough for me. So we wait for a snowstorm and go hunt for some of the spookiest of spooks, and quickly, a lot of shinies in our ghost hunts. Starting with the shiny blue fox, Hisuian Zurora, and not long afterwards, the shinies came pouring in with our shiny Mischievous. I heard this thing sparkle and I had no idea where this thing spawned. I looked everywhere until I noticed, it was underground. I didn't didn't realize that I could hear sparkles, through the earth itself. Quickly followed up by a shiny Dusclops. And lastly, of course, back to the shiny shipwreck. After a long travel of flying to the scene of the crash, turning to the village, and repeating, we didn't see a single shiny ghost. Nada, nothing. Except on my very last attempt, just a few feet away, we did encounter a spooky shiny. Close enough to count, in my opinion. It's almost a black cat, which is, bad luck that you come across, and, it's cursed. But you see, this one, actually cursed me to catch shiny Pokemon for a YouTube career. Sounds pretty rough. Yeah, so of course I caught it and evolved some of our shiny pals. And these Pokemon were all caught faster. We were excited for the shiny Rotom still. Bad enough we had to beat the game for the static shock of a ghost. And this is how this game repays me? Alright, it might be a good time to talk about some honorable mentions, or some areas where I downright failed to capture a shiny Pokemon altogether. Starting with Generation 2. I couldn't really find, a really good haunted area. So I thought maybe the burned down tower, but there are not really, many ghosts here. It didn't really strike me as a spooky place. And we already confirmed that Lavender Town is playing Gangnam Style every night. Pokemon Black and White makes the best case for a haunted area here, with the appropriately titled Strange House. Downright even has ghost people, and much better than 100% Ghastly in the Haunted Chateau. But I've never played Generation 5, and I'm saving that experience for another video, where I'll eventually tackle a shiny-only playthrough of the whole game. So if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe, and I'll make sure to catch a ghost in this strange house just for you guys. Also, among our honorable mentions, we have Pokemon X and Y, which has some, very close areas to being spooky, but nothing that really matches, a Lavender Town or a Thrifty Megamart level of spook, or even the Haunted Chateau for that matter. Even though I did attempt some hunts here, which does include some very spooky Pokemon, it's just something that, not too spooky about this area. And don't get me wrong, I love a shiny Trevenant. I would love to get myself a nice shiny Vent Diesel Groot. I'm all for the family. But I tried. I spent more than 4 hours hunting in these games, but ultimately called it quits. There's also the Distorted World, where you can capture yourself, God of the Underworld himself, and Giratina. I've already done that, so if this include that instead. We've already done Generation 4 twice, so here's the third one. There you go. That leaves only Generation 8, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yeah, surely they would have had some, spook in the wild area, of course, right? Yeah, not really. Some spooky aesthetic was attempted, sure. N64 graphics and all. But the real shiny I'm after here is the Max Raid Den Gigantamax Gengar. I'll go so big and spooky, it becomes a bouncy castle. I'm gonna have more nightmares than that time I played Scissorman, the game, 2 years ago. But the unfortunate thing here is, Nintendo didn't do any Halloween events for Pokemon Sword and Shield. You know what they did announce instead? Sword and Shield are actually a ghost in themselves. They're dead. You know what? You should have got Pokemon Gun instead. R.I.P. Pokemon Sword and Shield. It'll always be my favorite Generation 8 Pokemon game. No, other than the Legends Arceus and the Let's Go Pikachu, of course. And, speaking of Pokemon Let's Go, the shiny TV ghost finally sparkled. I thought that was so long, and in between so many games, I couldn't even give you a remote chance or even a clue of how long this thing took. But I was very shocked, except it was more of a shock of relief, because it was finally over. You don't have any idea how many podcasts I could fit in this bad boy, because me neither, and I lost track of that. That only leaves one last area, the most haunted and spooky area in all of Pokemon. An area so downright spooky and sinister, even has its own lore in something called a creepypasta. I don't know what kind of Italian cuisine cults you guys are a part of. Creepypasta. Say what? It must have been a jump scare right in between my meatballs and the Parmesan cheese. I'm talking about one of the most iconic areas ever. Lavender Town, baby. Yep. Again. Yeah, I'm kind of a Gen 1er here. Pokemon Let's Go. A game I'm very familiar with in shiny hunting. Albeit, according to the internet, the wrong way. But I don't care. I'm not going to change my ways. I'll shiny hunt how I want. And that's by standing still and not moving a single step until something shiny shows up. No, seriously. There's not much else to it. For some reason, it actually works every single time. Albeit 4 hours, might not be the most efficient, but I refuse to believe otherwise. Standing right here in this large office building with nothing but buried Pokemon in the floorboards, and the smoke I can only assume is the stench of death floating in and out of our 10-year-old lungs, with large ghosts, bats, and even, what the is that? Some kind of large egg-carrying monster? It's really times like this where I realize to look around and be grateful what I have in life. Oh, shiny thing! Except, you know what? This one's special. Legend has it, this is the ghost of Shiny Porygon from the episode many years ago that may have involuntarily caused the 600 Japanese children harm, later becoming a ghost. I won't let you be alone anymore, buddy. I'm gonna evolve you and ride you into the sunset, just like Ash did many years ago when it was your chance to shine. You would have been a star, Porygon, I tell you. Happy Halloween. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below your favorite ghost shiny Pokemon. And watch some more spooky videos here, like the one where I almost become a ghost in real life. Emerald Kaizo Hot Wings Challenge. And of course, watch Clock Tower. I've been R9, and I hope you had yourselves a spooky time.